Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new session. So we are back with a new revision session of NET. I hope all of you are doing great and studying really well for your upcoming NET exam, right? So if you're new to our channel, please do subscribe. And if you are watching this video right now, then please do like this video. All right. So that being said, let's get started with the session tonight. Yes. Let me share my screen. Yes, the screen is visible. So welcome to our session number 28 of our Vallath NET revision. Okay. Right. So, shall we start? Are you all ready? Good evening, and welcome to the session. Please like the session, everyone. And now let's get started. Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, let us start now. Okay. I hope many more people will join. Right. Chalo. So here we go to the first question for tonight. The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois is a seminal work in the history of sociology and a cornerstone of African American literature. This work was published in which year? The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois was published in which year? Tell me. The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois was published in 1903. 1903. Right. Okay. Next, tell me. Who wrote There Ain't No Black in the Union Jack? Who wrote There Ain't No Black in the Union Jack? Who wrote it? There Ain't No Black in the Union Jack. It's a work by There Ain't No Black in the Union Jack. It's a work by Paul Gilroy. Paul Gilroy wrote There Ain't No Black in the Union Jack. There ain't no black in the Union Jack. Okay, right. Next. Joan Rivier's Womanliness as a Masquerade argues that femininity, particularly for intellectual women, can be a defensive performance, a mask, to hide masculine desires or ambitions and avert male punishment, making women appear submissive, flirtatious, or conventionally feminine to disarm anxieties about their competence and power. Is it true or false? Joan Rivier's Womanliness as a Masquerade. Womanliness as a Masquerade. It is absolutely true. Absolutely true. A Literature of Their Own by Elaine Showalter was published in which year? A Literature of Their Own by Elaine Showalter was published in which year? It was published in 1977. 1977. In 1977 was published A Literature of Their Own by Elaine Showalter. Elaine Showalter. Okay? Right. Next. The Aftermath of Feminism Gender, Culture and Social Change by Dash argues that while feminism seems to have achieved much, popular culture has co opted and reversed gains, creating post feminist traps where women face neurotic dependencies, intense body anxiety, and pressure to embody empowerment through consumption, like fashion or makeovers, while still being bound by patriarchal norms. Who wrote The Aftermath of Feminism? Gender, Culture, and Social Change. It's a work by Angela McRobbie. Angela McRobbie. Yes, it's a work by Angela McRobbie. Very good. Very good. Okay. Next, I want to ask you one question. Tell me. Yeah. Can you tell me what was David morally associated with? What was David morally associated with? Tell me. David Morley was associated with what? Tell me, David Morley was associated with what? David Morley. He was a British poet and ecologist. He was a famous ecologist. Questions from him often come. David Morley. Okay, right. David Morley. Okay. John Fiske was associated with what? John Fiske was associated with what? John Fiske. Television studies. Television studies. John Fiske. Television studies. John Fiske. Television studies. All right. Yeah. The concept of horizon of expectations was coined by Dash, a key figure in reception theory, to explain how readers' existing cultural knowledge, literary experiences, and historical context shape their interpretation and understanding of a text. It posits that readers approach works with a set of preconceived ideas, which can change over time as they encounter new texts, leading to evolving interpretations. The concept horizon of expectations was coined by whom? It was coined by Hans Robert Yoss, not hand. It's a type, okay. It is obviously Hans Robert Yoss. Hans Robert Yoss. Who talked about interpretive communities? Who talked about interpretive communities? Tell me. Who talked about interpretive communities? Who talked about interpretive communities? Stanley Fish. Stanley Fish talked about interpretive communities. Stanley Fish talked about interpretive communities. So before we proceed, let me give you all a reminder that we are starting our new NET online batch from this coming January. From this coming January. Okay. Have you all liked the session? Have you all liked the session? Please like the session, okay? Please do like the session. All right. Chalo, let's move on. The term poetic justice was coined by Dash, particularly in his 1670 work, The Tragedies of the Last Age Considered, to describe the literary concept where virtue is rewarded and vice punished, creating a morally just outcome in art to teach audiences right behavior. Who coined the term poetic justice? Who coined the term poetic justice? This term was coined by Thomas Rhymer. Thomas Rhymer, who talked about secondary imagination as an exemplastic power. Who talked about secondary imagination as an exemplastic power? That was obviously Coleridge. Coleridge. Okay, right. The term glocalization was coined and popularized by Dash, blending globalization and localization to describe how global products or ideas are adapted for local markets, highlighting the interplay between worldwide and local forces. In 1980s or early 90s context, stemming from Japanese business usage. Who coined the term glocalization? The term glocalization was coined by Roland Robertson. Roland Robertson. Who talked about readerly and writerly texts? Who talked about readerly and writerly texts? That was Roland Barthes. Roland Barthes. Roland Barthes wrote Camera Lucida. True or false? Roland Barthes wrote Camera Lucida. True or false? Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Okay. Next. Richard Dyer's White Essays on Race and Culture argues that whiteness is a dominant yet invisible racial category in Western culture, often presented as normal or human, while other races are defined against it. Dyer analyzes how this is constructed in media like film, photography, and advertising, examining tropes from heroic white masculinity like Tarzan, Rambo, and colonial narratives to the symbolism of white women and the association of whiteness with death, like vampires and dystopias. It is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Richard Dyer's White Essays on Race and Culture. Who talked about contrapuntal reading? Tell me. Who talked about contrapuntal reading? Who talked about the concept of contrapuntal reading? Who talked about the concept of contrapuntal reading? Edward Said. Edward Said talked about the concept of contrapuntal reading in the work Culture and Imperialism, published in 1993. 1993. Sadie Plant is a British philosopher, cultural theorist, and author. She is best known for her work in feminism, particularly cyber feminism. Sadie Plant's work is primarily concerned with the impacts of technological developments, including the side effects of its progress. True or false? True or false? Sadie Plant, a cyber feminist. It is absolutely true. It is absolutely true. Who wrote How We Became Posthuman? Who wrote How We Became Posthuman? That's by N. Catherine Hales. N. Catherine Hales wrote How We Became Posthuman. How We Became Posthuman. Okay, right. Johann Rudolf Kellen was a Swedish political scientist, geographer, and politician who first coined the term dash, which term was coined by Johann Rudolf Kellen. Which term was coined by Rudolf Kellen? Johann Rudolf Kellen first coined the term geopolitics. Geopolitics. Okay? Geopolitics. The Gutenberg Galaxy, The Making of Typographic Man, is a 1962 book by Dash, in which he analyzes the effects of mass media, especially the printing press, on European culture and human consciousness. The Gutenberg Galaxy, The Making of the Typographic Man. It's a 1962 work by whom? It is by Marshall McLuhan. It's by Marshall McLuhan. Okay? Marshall McLuhan wrote the work, The Gutenberg Galaxy, published in 1962. This work analyzes the effects of mass media, especially the printing press, on European culture and human consciousness. Okay? This work was published in 1962. 1962. All right. Dash, developed by Deleuze and Guattari, is a radical anti-psychoanalytic theory challenging Oedipus and capitalism, proposing desire as a productive nomadic force that cuts through rigid structures like the family or the state to create new connections, exploring flows of desire rather than repressions, and offering a way to map and navigate social complexities and technological shifts, as detailed in their seminal work, Anti Oedipus. It's a method of thinking and living that embraces becoming and difference, contrasting with traditional analysis focusing on fixed pathologies. Fixing pathologies. It is schizoanalysis. Schizoanalysis. Schizoanalysis, developed by Deleuze and Guattari, is a radical anti-psychoanalytic theory which challenges Oedipus and capitalism, and it proposes desire as a productive nomadic force that cuts through the rigid structures of family and the state. Schizoanalysis. Schizoanalysis. That's the term for it. That's the term for it. Schizoanalysis. Developed by Deleuze and Guattari. The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life is a 1956 sociological book by Dash, in which the author uses the imagery of theater to portray the importance of human social interaction. The representation of self in everyday life. It's a work by Erving Goffman. It's a work by Erving Goffman. Here the author uses the imagery of the theater to portray the importance of social interaction. Disjuncture and difference in the global cultural economy by Dash argues globalization is not uniform but characterized by uneven chaotic scapes like ethnoscape, technoscape, financescape, mediascape, and ideoscape that flow independently, creating cultural complexity, not just homogenization. These flows of people, tech, money, images, ideas, detached from traditional locals, leading to disjunctures, mismatches, and new hybrid meanings as cultures adapt globally, creating diverse local realities rather than a single global culture. It challenges old center periphery models by focusing on this dynamic, often contradictory cultural interactions. So, who wrote this disjuncture and the difference in the global cultural economy, which talked about these various scapes? It is by Arjun Appadurai. Arjun Appadurai. Yes, it is by Arjun Appadurai. Manuel Castell's network society concept, central to his information age trilogy, describes a new social structure driven by IT revolution, global capitalism, and cultural shifts, forming a global network morphology where functions and power flow. Is it true or false? Manuel Castell's network society concept, central to his information age trilogy. Manuel Castell's network society concept. True, absolutely true. Dash coined the term imperialist, white, supremacist, capitalist patriarchy to describe interlocking systems of oppression and the oppositional gaze to signify black spectators' critical way of viewing media that resists dominant forms. She also emphasized concepts like engaged pedagogy, transforming teaching into liberation, and focused on the politics of love and intimacy as crucial for social change. Who coined this term, imperialist, white, supremacist, capitalist patriarchy? Who coined this term? This term was coined by Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks coined the term imperialist, white, supremacist, capitalist patriarchy. Okay, Bell Hooks coined this term. Okay, and I have decided something that from now onwards, in every session, before I end the session, I will do a revision of everything that we have done today. The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois was published in which year? Tell me. The Souls of Black Folk by W.E.B. Du Bois was published in 1903. 1903. Who wrote Womanliness as a Masquerade? Who wrote Womanliness as a Masquerade? It is by Joanne Rivers. Joanne Rivers. Who wrote The Aftermath of Feminism? Who wrote The Aftermath of Feminism? It is by Angela McRobbie. Angela McRobbie. Who coined the phrase horizon of expectations? Who coined the phrase horizon of expectations? Hans Robert Joss. Hans Robert Joss. Who coined the term poetic justice? Who coined the term poetic justice? Thomas Rhymer. Thomas Rhymer. Who coined the term globalization? Who coined the term globalization? Roland Robertson. Roland Robertson. White. Essays on Race and Culture is a collection of essays by White. Essays on Race and Culture is a collection of essays by Richard Dyer. Richard Dyer. Sadie Plant is a cyber feminist. True or false? Sadie Plant is a cyber feminist. True or false? True. True. Who coined the term geopolitics? Who coined the term geopolitics? Johann Rudolf Kellen. Johann Rudolf Kellen. Who wrote the work Gutenberg Galaxy? Who wrote the work Gutenberg Galaxy? Marshall McLuhan. Marshall McLuhan. Who talked about schizoanalysis? Who talked about schizoanalysis? Deleuze and Guattari. Deleuze and Guattari. Who wrote the presentation of self in everyday life? Who wrote the presentation of self in everyday life? Erving Goffman. Erving Goffman. Who wrote Disjuncture and Difference in the Global Cultural Economy? Who wrote Disjuncture and Difference in the Global Cultural Economy? Arjun Appadurai. Arjun Appadurai. Who talked about network society concept? Who talked about network society concept? Manuel Castell. Manuel Castell. Who coined the term imperialist white supremacist capitalist patriarchy? Who coined the term imperialist white supremacist capitalist patriarchy? Bell Hooks. Bell Hooks. So did you all like it? I hope you all liked it. This entire revision of everything that we have done today. It is meant to refresh your memory and give you an overview of everything that we have done today. Okay? Right. So please like the session, okay? Don't leave without liking the session. All right. And tomorrow there will be paper 1 session by Jobin sir. Do attend that as well. And I will see you all again on Friday. Okay? Keep studying. And I will see you all again on Friday at 9 p.m. All right. Chalo. Bye. Thank you so much for all the love. Okay?